Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. So today's video is going to be slightly different. I am going to do a chatty Q&A. I do these a few times a year. I think they're so much fun to do. I get to answer your questions and we just get to chat because that is what I love to do. So you answered or you asked a few questions over on Instagram at least. So some style and fashion related, quite a few skincare and makeup questions as well, and then a few kind of like life in general questions. So without making this intro any longer than it already is, let's get started with the questions. So the first question is, what brought you to Canada? And that is a question that I get asked so much. If you don't already know, I am from South Africa and my husband and I moved to Canada at the end of 2020. So we've been here for 4.5 years. And to be honest with you, I've always known that I wanted to live in a different country, a country other than South Africa. And it was just about timing and what country. And we were just looking for an adventure. So we knew we wanted to live in a different country and we wanted an adventure, and we picked Canada. Actually, we decided on Toronto without ever visiting Toronto. So the first time we put our feet on Torontonian soil, if you will, was when we immigrated in 2020. And it's been such an adventure. Absolutely love it, and I won't change it for the world. So yes, that's kind of the short of how we ended up here in Canada. So kind of somehow related to that is, how do you deal with the long Canadian winters? Now, coming from South Africa, it's really strange if I tell you that I'm not really a summer person. I do love summer, but in general, it's just too hot and humid for me, and I love fall and winter. Those are my favorite seasons because of the weather, but also because of the fashion. Obviously, we get to layer a lot, lots of beautiful textures, and here in Canada, I actually experience 4 different seasons, which is amazing. But as much as I love fall and winter can drag on quite long. So the rest of the world, it seems, already has a spring, while it snowed a bit today, and we're almost in the middle of April. But I have kind of gotten used to it. It is long. There's nothing really you can do about it. But the 2 things that I do basically for health and mindset is, the first is vitamin D supplements. Like if you live somewhere where the sun doesn't shine a lot during winter, or you don't get out a lot during winter, vitamin D supplements are a must. And the other thing is to just get out of the house. So I have a spinning bike in our living room, and I used to do spinning classes on the Peloton app, and I got in my exercise, but I just, when the days were just super cold, I just did not end up leaving the house. And now I've signed up at a gym, and I go for my daily spinning classes. I walk there, takes me 15 minutes. I do my 45-minute spin class and I walk back, and just getting out of the house, getting that fresh air has done a world of a difference. I feel like a completely different person. So those are kind of the 2 things that help me get through the long winter. But I am really excited for sunshine and warm weather and spring to finally arrive. So I have 2 questions that are kind of related. The first is, what do you and your husband do besides YouTube? And the other one is, what do you do for work? So my husband and I are actually both chemical engineers. We met at university and we did our postgrads. We got our PhDs and we started working. So back in South Africa, he worked in the food industry and I actually worked in the cosmetic industry. And then we moved to Canada, and he is still an engineer, and that is what he loves to do. Whereas I am a full-time influencer. So social media, YouTube, Instagram, that is my full-time job. I'm so blessed to be able to do that because it's been a passion of mine for as long as I can remember. I started a fashion blog back in university, which is, gosh, like 18 years ago now. So it's been a long time coming. But it's probably not a career I would have pursued back in South Africa. I would probably still be an engineer, or like work in research or cosmetics or product development, that sort of thing back in South Africa. But yes, that's one of the reasons I'm so glad that we moved to Canada, because now I get to do this as my job, and it's just my biggest passion in life. Then a few fashion and styling related questions. The first is, what do you prefer, going shopping, physically shopping, or online shopping? And I still love going into the store and seeing what they have, actually holding the pieces in my hand. So a lot of the time I will browse online, and then if we have a store in Toronto, I will go to the store and see if whatever I saw online that I loved, if it's actually in store. And a lot of the time, what I love online, it kind of looks different in person. Maybe it's a fabric that I don't love, or the fit isn't great. So that is why I love going into the store. And also merchandising in store and how they do the styling is like something that gives me so much inspiration. So I do love going into the store and seeing what they have. But of course, we don't have all the shops here, and they don't always carry everything that they do online in stores. So online shopping definitely has its advantages, but I still love going into a brick and mortar store and seeing the clothes in person and trying them on. Then I have, again, two questions that are kind of similar. The first is, whose style are you inspired by, and who are some of your fashion inspirations? And I actually thought long and hard about this question, because I know a lot of people have a specific person or specific people that they say is their fashion inspiration or their fashion icons. And I actually don't have one single person that I can say, oh, that is my fashion inspiration, just because I don't think I can put my personal style in a box, really. I do love different styles, and I do love experimenting within my personal style. So probably where I get the most inspiration from is, as I said earlier, just walking in the mall or a store and seeing their merchandising, what they style together. One of my favorite stores to do that in is Cause, also Massimo Dutti, and if you live in Canada, Holt Renfrew. It is obviously more designer pieces, but I always love how they do their merchandising. And in Toronto, we have a mall called Yorkdale Shopping Center, and I just love like walking around there and browsing more high street stores, as well as the designer stores, just window browsing and seeing how they do their merchandising. And of course online as well. I think Banana Republic does their online styling really well, which I love, and I do get inspiration from there as well. And I've mentioned it before, but I get a lot of inspiration from Net-a-Porter. They do their styling on their website really, really well. It's just done in a really modern and refreshing way. Even with more classic pieces, they just do their styling really great. So I go there for inspiration as well. And then the runways. So every season when we have fashion weeks, I love looking at the runways, seeing how they style the pieces, and then I kind of incorporate that into my styling with pieces I already own. So that is where I get inspiration, and kind of what ticks all the boxes for me when I want to get inspired to put outfits together. The next question is, do you know your color type? And the simple answer is yes, I do. I've had my color analysis done. So they classified me as a medium winter, which I can definitely see for certain seasons of the year, when I'm not wearing any self-tanner, my skin is really pale, and because I've got really dark hair. But my eyes have some warmth to them. So my eyes are brown with like a honey hazel and a bit of green in it. Just depends on what my mood is and what I'm wearing. So my eyes do have a bit of warmth in them, and my skin tone is actually not cool or warm. I actually have a very neutral skin tone, so I can get away with certain colors that a true medium winter probably wouldn't be able to. And of course, at the moment, I'm wearing some self tanner because we're heading into the warmer season. So that is why the pale yellow works really well on me at the moment, because I have a bit of a tan. So it really just depends. There are colors that I won't wear, like camel next to my skin just doesn't really work. It just washes me out a lot, as well as orange. And I love the paler, cooler toned yellows, but anything that is really very warm toned, very bright, like a canary yellow, that doesn't really work. So for the most part, I do go for more cooler toned colors. But yeah, I can kind of get away with some colors that I probably wouldn't necessarily if I was a true medium winter. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Next question is long denim skirts. Are they still trendy this year? And if so, how would you style them for spring, summer? And to me, like, a pencil long denim skirt is really a classic piece. I think it's something that will always look really chic. I don't think it's specifically trendy this season because I don't see a lot of them. We are seeing a lot more of these A-line poplin cotton skirts, but I will still be wearing my denim skirt. I have realized though that my denim skirts are really great for spring here in Toronto, not for summer because it's just too hot and humid. So I'll put a few pictures on the screen of past outfits that I've styled with my long denim skirts, and that's probably how I will still style them. So yes, I'm not sure if I would go out and buy a new denim pencil skirt, maxi skirt this season, but I have a few and I will still be wearing them. Then, do you prefer silver or gold jewelry? And that is actually such a funny question because for the longest time, I only wore silver. I didn't have any gold jewelry in my collection, probably from the age of 12, 13, up until we moved to Canada. I basically only wore silver, and I went through a stage where I loved more colorful earrings, but the metals, I always kept silver. I did not wear any gold. And then we moved here and all of a sudden I started wearing gold jewelry. I think I was definitely influenced by brands like Jenny Bird and Majuri and Monica Vinader because they do a lot of gold jewelry, but more chunky designs as well, which I love. So I started wearing a lot of gold, and I actually for like 2 or 3 years probably only bought and wore gold jewelry, and then silver became really trendy, and now I have kind of a mixture of gold and silver. I think I have like equal amounts of silver pieces and gold pieces, and now I love wearing both. I think silver does suit me a tad more, but I love gold and I wear both of them. Where is the best place to get petite clothing? Now, I've answered this question a bit on my Instagram stories before, and I am just under 5'4". So this is a really awkward length because I feel like you're in between petite and regular. So a lot of the time, petite trousers will actually be too short for me and regular trousers will be slightly too long. So I'm really in between, and for the most part, I just buy regular trousers and get them hemmed, or sometimes I'm lucky and they're just the perfect length. But some of my favorite stores that carry petite lengths, petite sizing, definitely Banana Republic. I think they do petite sizing really, really well. Especially if you're petite but you still love oversized pieces, then Banana Republic is a really great place to go because all of their trousers, actually I think they do everything in petite sizing as well. Dresses, skirts, trousers, even long jackets. So yes, that's a really great place to have a look. Obviously, Abercrombie also does petite or they do short lengths, at least in their trousers and jeans. I'm not sure about jackets though, but definitely for trousers and jeans and even dresses, they are a really great place to go. Gap also does really great petite sizing, so that's also a really great place to go. And even though Aritzia doesn't do petite sizing, I think it's also a great place to have a look at if you are petite. I don't find their pieces particularly long, whether that is skirts, dresses, coats, blazers, and most of my trousers from them are just regular length and I didn't have to get them hemmed. And they also do 00. So if you're really petite and small, it's a really great place to look at. But yes, I've tried on a lot of their jackets. I have so many of their coats. None of them are petite length and they aren't even maxi length on me. So if you're shorter, I want to say like 5'3", 5'2", even 5'1", a lot of their coats and jackets will also work. So yes, I think that's also a really great place to have a look at. And then I have a few skincare and makeup questions, and I have some of my products here that I will show you. So the first question is, how old are you and what is your skincare routine like? So I just turned 38 in February. Can't believe it, but here we are. And I used to do product development for skincare products. So I am really particular about what I put on my skin, but I love keeping it simple. So I don't want too many products. I don't want too much fuss when it comes to my skincare. I just want the minimal amount of products, but they need to work. So for daytime, obviously everything on cleansed skin, I always do a vitamin C serum. So this is actually a new one. I've used it a couple of times now and I absolutely love it. It's Paula's Choice C15 Super Booster Serum. It has vitamin C and ferulic acid in. So I use this in the morning. I absolutely love it. It's a really lightweight formulation. I don't really use eye cream, so I just finish off with a moisturizer. And I've used this one for probably 2 years now. It's the Skin Fix Barrier Triple Lipid Peptide Cream. Love this moisturizer. They have the cream version that I use during fall and winter when the air is really dry, and then they have a gel version which I use in spring and summer when it's more humid and really hot. So I love that. And then something that I've not gone without since probably I turned 20 is sunscreen whenever I leave the house. And I don't have a specific favorite. I have used quite a few different sunscreens. I'm not really that picky when it comes to sunscreens. Or maybe I've just tried really great ones. At the moment, I'm using the Sephora Daily Sunscreen SPF 30, which I will use during winter, and then during summer I usually wear the La Roche-Posay SPF 51, which it's a nice fluid consistency. So sunscreen for me is an absolute must. I never leave the house without it. And then for my nighttime skincare routine, and obviously after I've cleansed and removed my makeup, I usually use retinol, but I wanted to go for a retinol alternative, seeing as we are heading into spring and summer. So I picked up the Caudalie Resveratrol Lift. I've only used this for about 4 or 5 nights. So far, I love it. It's a really great formulation. So I will see how I feel about it in 4 weeks' time. But so far, I really love it. So this is the retinol alternative. And then if I'm not using this kind of on alternating nights, then I will use the Ordinary's Matrixyl and Hyaluronic Acid Serum. Matrixyl is a really great anti-aging ingredient, so I love that. And then I will just top either of those two again with the Skin Fix moisturizer. And that is that. I also use my LED mask 5-6 days a week for 10 minutes. That's also has been a really great addition to my skincare routine. And then I use a beauty pillow, the Sleep and Glow pillow, which I've talked about before, and a silk pillowcase. And that is basically my skincare routine. And I think I'm going to finish this video with a makeup question. So the question is, what is your favorite makeup product? And That's a really difficult question to answer. It's like asking someone who their favorite child is. I love makeup, and it's really difficult for me to pick a favorite product, but I have a few categories that I love. So starting with the foundation, and just because I love my base to be flawless but still looking natural and have a bit of a dewy finish, and I used Estee Lauder Double Wear for the longest time. I have really oily skin, and that worked quite well for me for 10 plus years. But then I switched to the Luminous Silk from Giorgio Armani, and this is just the best foundation. It gives you a natural finish. I still see my skin peeking through. It's not particularly high coverage, although I think it is buildable, but this is just such a great foundation. I wear the shade 5 when I am not tanned, and when I do self-tanner, I think I'm 5.75. I'll have to double check, but I have 2 different shades that I go to depending on how tanned I am, but this is just one of my favorite foundations. So that is definitely a favorite product. Then I do love blushes and bronzers, and I have a few favorites, but at the moment I love the Hourglass one. I don't want to blind you with the mirror, so I have the Hourglass one, and I use this bronzer kind of as a contour on the cheeks and on my forehead, and then I kind of blend these to the bronzer, and then this pinky raspberry shade as a blusher on my cheeks. I absolutely love Hourglass. I think their powders, the luminous finish that it gives is just so beautiful. So this is another favorite of mine at the moment. And I have said it before, but doing my brows is one of my favorite steps in my makeup routine. So I have to include brow products whenever I talk about my favorite makeup products. So for brows, I use the Benefit Precisely My Brow Detailer. So the detailer is the really fine tip. I don't know if you'll be able to see. It's a really fine tip, which I love. I use the shade 4. It's a dark brown. It just gives the most natural kind of finish to the brows. It looks like you are drawing in like really thin hairs, really natural. Absolutely love it. And then the brow gel that I use is from Merit. So I think it's called the 1980 Voluminous Brow Gel or something like that. I wear the shade dark brown, and it's just a really great brow gel. I actually went to a Merit workshop when they launched this brow gel, and I fell in love with it because it also gives you that natural finish. It gives a nice color payoff, but it doesn't leave your brows really crunchy and hard. So really love these 2 products for brows. And for now, those are my favorite makeup products, but it does change depending on the products that I use and the time of year as well. So that was it for today's Chatty Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too long. I love chatting, so I can ramble on sometimes, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions that you want me to answer in future videos, leave them in the comments section of this video, and then I will refer back to it when I do my next Q&A. And let me know if you love these types of chatty videos, and maybe I can find a way to do them more often. So yes, that's it from my side for today. I hope you have a lovely week ahead, and I'll chat again in the next video. Bye everyone. Mwah.